In this video, I'm going to help you pick the correct Samsung Galaxy Book 4 for your specific needs. There's a lot of differences between each of the models with features and performance. So I'm going to talk through each of the models, the use cases that I think are best associated with the model, as well as the latest Galaxy Book 4 Edge with the new Snapdragon CPU from Qualcomm. Okay, this is a newly released model, and I'm going to show you benchmarks so you can see the performance expectations that will be expected between the current Galaxy Book lineup that has existed up until this point and what this new CPU lineup will provide. So hang on for this entire video. Remember that links will be in the description if you want to check the live pricing of any of the models I am discussing here as we work through the video. Now, I have personal experience and dedicated reviews of the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Ultra and the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Pro 360 on my channel if you want to dive deeper into those two specific models. Now, first and foremost, let's take a look at the standard Galaxy Book 4. This has the Intel Core 7, but it's not the Intel Core Ultra, so keep that in mind. This is going to be the entry-level Intel Core 7 CPU from Intel. It's available right now on sale at bestbuy.com for $650, and really the big benefit of getting the Samsung Galaxy Book 4 is going to be the build quality. Samsung is known for the build quality of these laptops, so it's going to be the more premier entry-level laptop. This is going to be a great laptop for a college student, for maybe a business owner who's doing a lot of research on the web, writing emails, maybe doing a little bit of photo editing on this laptop, but nothing crazy, no creative professional tasks like huge Photoshop files with multiple layers and, you know, you're doing illustrations. That would be too much for this type of laptop. You're going to be easily streaming video playback, and the 512 gigs of storage is going to be a good amount for you. You will not find that this laptop gets filled up too quickly. Especially if you're using this laptop for, say, school, business, or leisure. If you're going to be doing a lot of photo editing, that storage will be used up rather quickly, which is why it's not my top recommendation for creative professionals. $650 on Best Buy, and also currently $650 on Samsung's website. They also have this option to like upgrade to the same Intel Core 7, but it's $1,099. And if you notice, the RAM nor the storage changes. So I don't know what this larger option is. I would not purchase it if I were you. I would personally go with this correct, affordable option. So if somebody wants to jump on the website, figure out why that's so much different in the price point, I'd love for you to comment below. But for me, right off the bat, I have no idea. I dug and dug before I started recording this video, and I could not figure out why that one was different. So I would not buy that one without informed consent. Remember that links are in the description below if you want to check the live pricing. Again, you know, they're saying that this is $250 off at the recording of the video, but it may be different. So go ahead and check the pricing if you're watching the video and you want to make a purchase, or just check it out. Now, the next laptop on the lineup is going to be the Book 4 360. The big advantage of this laptop is going to be that it folds all the way around into presentation mode, and it is pen compatible. So there are laptops in the Samsung lineup that are touchscreen. Like this year, the Book 4 Ultra, it got a touchscreen. So you can see, go ahead, I can type in my password using the touchscreen. So that is an upgrade to this year's Ultra. However, this is not pen compatible. So something like the Book 4 Pro is also touchscreen this year, but it's not pen compatible. Any laptop from the Galaxy Book lineup that says 360 is compatible. So the Book 4 360 and the Book 4 Pro 360 are pen compatible. So if you're a digital artist, that is going to be where you want to be putting your money if you want that pen compatibility. So keep that in mind. But the best bang for buck for somebody who wants pen compatibility and good performance, again, is somebody with entry-level design or artistic work that they are doing, not anything of a creative professional level. This is a great device. You got 512 gigs of storage. It's a good amount of storage. If you go to Samsung's website and you look up the Book 4 360, you can actually go ahead and upgrade the storage to 1 terabyte. If you're somebody who's going to be using this laptop a lot, loading a lot of files onto it, it may be advantageous for you to upgrade to that 1 terabyte. Or carry around, some storage drives with you to back files up as you're adding files to your laptop. So 512 can actually run out pretty quickly if you're doing a lot of photo editing and loading a lot of files onto your computer. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next laptop on the lineup is going to be the Book4 Pro, and this is the first laptop that offers the Intel Core Ultra. Now, this is going to be something that offers a bit more punch. I've been looking at the benchmarks comparatively, and it's one of the top performers of the Ultrabook lineup in 2024 so far. So keep in mind that this is a great laptop, the Intel Core Ultra 7. You get the 16 gigs of RAM as an option. Now, one thing that I looked into that I think you really should be aware of, this is new. I've never seen this before. So huge spoiler alert. If you've never seen this before, this is a huge deal. The Book4 Pro actually has a 32 gig RAM model available. Okay, look, this is the Samsung business website. This is the Samsung consumer website. 16 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, 14-inch model. Okay, we go to the Samsung business website, 32 gigs of RAM for the 16-inch model. So we did not see the 16-inch model available on the consumer website, but it's available on the business website, and it's available with 32 gigs of RAM. So very, very interesting. Now let's go over here to the Samsung listing on Best Buy, and you can see we have the 14-inch model, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 SSD. Click 16 gigs, and again, we have the 16-inch screen size. We have the 16 gigs of RAM, no 32 gig option. So if you want to have a really strong Photoshop laptop that you can handle lots of layers in Photoshop, you could even handle some really good 4K video editing. This is going to be touchscreen, not pen compatible, but touchscreen. You can go to the Samsung business website, get the 16-inch model with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD. The next laptop on the lineup is going to be the Book4 Pro 360. And if you want to get the 32 gigs, you can actually get it at $16.99. So this is an even better deal than the Book4 Pro. You get 32 gigs of RAM. You get the Intel Core Ultra 7 for $16.99. To me, this is like the secret hack for the best Samsung laptop that money can buy at this moment. Because if we flip back to the Book4 Pro, see the same thing as $2,049. So definitely something to consider if you don't even need the touchscreen, but you want to save a few $100s right now. This is where I would put my money. Absolutely phenomenal. Because now look, we go over back to the consumer website and we go to Book4 Pro 360, and bada bing, bada boom, you can only get the 16 gig model with 1 terabyte of SSD. It is not available in the 32 gig. So really, really cool little secret feature if you get onto the business website. I will link the links in the description below. So if you want to check out that live pricing, I hope it's still on sale for you when you see this video. I'm literally recording it, and then I'm going to post this video today. So I hope it's still like ready to go for you. So links are in the description below if you want to check that out. All right. The next model is going to be the Book4 Ultra. We have the two models available. Ultra 7 with 16 gigs of RAM in the RTX 4050 versus the Ultra 9 with 32 gigs of RAM in the RTX 4070. Now, as we go over to the business website and we switch to the Ultra, you can see that we have the 32 gigs of RAM available with the 7, or 32 gigs of RAM available with the Ultra 9. So it's an area where you can actually customize the laptop a little bit more. Let's say you don't really care about having a bigger GPU, but you like the large form factor, you like that there is a dedicated GPU, but you want to get that 32 gigs of RAM, you have more customizable options here on the business website. So just keep that in mind. I'll put the business website link in the description below, and you can really play around with the configurations more than on the consumer website. Really, really awesome. Okay, next we're going to look at the latest Galaxy Book 4 Edge. Now, this comes with the new Snapdragon X Elite. It's got a great form factor. It does not cut you out on ports. HDMI, 2 USB-Cs, USB-A, micro SD, and a headphone jack. Super slim, super light. It's a great model. Now, the price point of this model, if we jump over here, for the benchmarks that are going to be on the chart you're going to see in a second, is $1749. So it's actually slightly more affordable, but we have a 32 gigs of RAM rather than the 16 gigs of RAM that comes with the Galaxy. So keep in mind, you get a little bit more RAM on the current Book 4 Pro compared to the Book 4 Edge. And that RAM will be helpful in programs like Photoshop. It will be helpful in video editing. But let's go ahead and check out the performance benchmarks between what would be the Book 4 Pro. So it has the Intel Core Ultra 7 and the Snapdragon, which would be the X Elite. Okay, so these come from a YouTube channel called Just Josh. And you can see that 122 is the Snapdragon Elite, and then we have a 98 for the single core performance on the Ultra 7 155H. Okay, so the percentage increase between those two is 24% percentage increase in performance. Now we go ahead and we jump to the multi-core. We have a 950 for the Snapdragon and a 708 for the Ultra 7 155H. That is a 34% increase in performance. But keep in mind, one thing that is not being accounted for between these two laptops is going to be that you can get this one with 32 gigs of RAM, the Book 4 Pro, and the Edge comes with 16 gigs of RAM. Because real world use cases, what you're going to experience is if you have more RAM, you have more ceiling for the applications to run smoother. If you open up a bunch of tabs in your web browser and you have Photoshop open, you have music open, that 32 gigs of RAM is what's going to keep the performance of the laptop at peak levels. What you will experience with 16 gigs of RAM is if you do a lot of multitasking, is you'll start to have a bottleneck. So even if the Snapdragon Elite is more powerful, which it is showing to be about 30% more powerful for multi-core and about 24% more powerful for single core, but if you start to bottleneck it because you don't have enough RAM, that performance is obsolete. So this I hope helps you with, should you pre-order the Book 4 Edge because you want to be kind of on the cutting edge of the latest technology, or should you go with something that's a little bit more tested and offers you 32 gigs of RAM, but is slightly more expensive. Really, the choice is yours. But those benchmarks really proof out that the performance differences are a little bit, but really missing that RAM offering, to me, is a mistake on Samsung's part. The Book 4 Edge is not available on the business website at this moment, so that does not provide the possible 32 gigs of RAM. If we could get it with 32 gigs of RAM, I would say without a doubt, it would be the better performer. So if I find that as I'm, kind of putting this video finally together, I'll link it up in the description below, and you can go ahead and check that out. And that, to me, would honestly be one of my top recommendations for somebody who wants the most powerful Book 4 without a dedicated GPU possible, because it would combine both the best CPU that we're seeing so far from a performance standpoint, as well as a good amount of RAM so you don't bottleneck your system. Now, remember, there are links in the description below if you'd like to make a purchase. If you do, I'll get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. But of course, that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. I hope this buyer guide has been helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.